Well,
Yeah.
It was
So,
there
yeah.
Wednesday night when I originally started searching. And then all of a sudden, when I went back to get another contact, boom, Mendon and Upton was a new town listed on there.
right.
So they're affiliated, I think, with the Yankee
Yes.
Express,
Mhm.
Gladstone.
Allen's didn't get published, unfortunately.
Yeah, I had an article that was supposed to
But,
go and didn't
yeah.
get published.
You know, the good thing is that going forward, you've got it.
Something.
And it's
Yeah,
once
it's
a month, but still.
Yeah, I didn't see
We
anything
just
about
need to know
Mendon
the
Library, so it was
deadlines.
only,
Yeah.
it was only
Yeah,
Upton Library.
Town library in the next issue.
There you
Because
go.
we taught, it was crazy.
It was, I forget what it was, yeah.
The right
She
direction.
got in touch with us, it was like,
Can you hear me?
second week.
The whole school.
Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed that the same sports writers,
Yes.
for the town card, are still writing.
So,
Yes, no, everything.
February January 25th is the deadline.
January.
Okay. Is it gonna always be?
January 25th.
I don't know, was it the last week? Typically?
It was the 26th for December,
So that would make sense, yeah.
so ish. Yeah, right.
Mhm.
All right. I don't see anybody online except for us, Andrew.
Hmm.
Okay.
Just only one more,
One more to go.
trustee.
Sean.
Absolutely, yeah, send it right over.
Yeah, he wrote, I thought he wrote back to you and said, thanks, Ellen, I just assumed that was a.
No, send it to me, I actually was
was that
in your.
old?
It was an old thing saying I couldn't, he couldn't make the December meeting. I
Send it
said,
right
"No, it's
over.
actually that."
Oh, that's right.
Oh, okay.
No worries. Okay,
Sometimes he comes down. You might have to wait for Wayne in order to
there you go.
start, because we have a form of the elected members, but not of the
Okay.
voting members.
Here's type.
Just show what the minutes there. There's 6 voting members. Sean does have voting. And we've never had a select board person come, so we don't even know if that's a voting member or not.
They have a voting member.
So either,
So, yeah.
but the select, Lee always voted.
Yes.
And she was very good parliamentarian, she always knew all the rules. Yeah, we can't even vote on minutes. Can't do any voting. We could hear a friend's update though, because you're not part of the board.
Yeah.
There's me.
Oh, awesome.
The beard is gone.
Day before Christmas.
Summer Santa. All right, so we can open the meeting. And it is 6:04. How are you? Happy New Year.
Thank you, you too.
Thanks for all my great gifts this year, Santa. Okay. First thing on the agenda is to accept the November and October ones, I think, because we couldn't vote on the October ones. Those are the ones I think that we forgot to get sent out. So we got them for the next time. We haven't voted for either one.
Yes.
So I motion to accept the minutes for both October and November.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Now we can have Katrina's Friends update. Thank you for coming.
Sure. Okay, well, I guess we're busy enough for the holiday season. We had a read workshop and just max 10 people, and that was fully attended.
Good.
So I think everybody had a good time there. It was, I mean, it would have been nice if there was a waiting list, which is a good sign, so next year we're definitely gonna do it again. Maybe have one slightly different, maybe like one of those, awesome arrangements, something like that, so that was like partially funded. And then we had the DIY event, similar to what last year was. It really hurt not having newspaper. That's why I was just really pleased to see this.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, we put it on everything we could, like the ultimate moms and dads and the bulletin one and our own Facebook and the library Facebook. Probably should have put it on the sign up front, I don't know if that really made much of a difference. We did have a number of kids turn up. Maybe we'll do it once the next time because Thursday was poor show. People just didn't really get it. Yeah, I mean, I even had it on the school blast. Sometimes I admit, I don't know if you've noticed, but when she sends it out, she makes the writing super tiny.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I can't figure that out
In
either.
massive font to try and offset it.
Because when the Upton one comes in and it's normal.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
and even like January's, I kept saying to her, are you sure you sent it out? Because I'm not seeing it. And she's like, yes, I did. So today she's like, oh, she realized it didn't come up. But anything I've on there's not really happened yet.
Right.
So that's good. So that's why I'm thrilled that, like I said before, it's been good.
Did you have people on the Saturday for the DIY?
We did, but I'd say it was about 50-50 that knew it was happening, and the rest were just random walk-ins, regularly show up. But they all loved it, they had a great time, said nothing but good stuff. Yeah, and, we asked, and a lot just like, well, she, like one of the moms explained that, I just assumed a lot of the things in the email are for preschool age kids, so I just don't read it. So I'm trying to be more like, ages this to this, it's on Friday evening, 6 p.m., so you can see all that.
Yeah,
So it's right there, so you don't have to click in it.
yeah,
Whatever it takes
right.
to get that viewership. So thank you to Tara. We have a cool event coming up soon, the Stones one that's on the 20th. So it's a lot of drift. Yeah, the sign there, so that's actually. And I don't know if we've set this one for definite with the watercolor craft. I think it's set, but I'm not
Did
sure.
we set the date?
Um,
I don't remember if we, you might have sent me a date or two.
yeah, I feel like she did. I didn't write it down here. But I'm sure. It was set, she would send it.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's coming. And, we'll probably do a tea blending class at some point, so. Yeah. That's it.
Great.
Thank you.
Sure.
Katrina's awesome. She's always willing to do it. I send her things, like, can you send us out like right now? Like I used to do to Gage. She's like, yeah, sure, of course. So thank you for always doing that.
Anytime.
Appreciate
So
it.
the iPad's
Collaboration.
overloaded, steam coming out of his ears, but, yeah. And I know we talked about that Oscars and the podcast.
Oh, right.
I just haven't gotten,
I have a date for you.
oh,
I can send it.
okay,
There's a
great.
date for it.
You have to send her the date.
It's in
March,
March,
right?
in March. Yeah. Had it on post. Officially put it into my calendar. Mr. Posted. I was gonna mention, did you check I think there's a few things in the mailbox.
Oh, I'll go up and check. I know there's probably a couple of checks.
Yeah, I think there's a check or two. And
Yeah.
some bank statements.
All right, Andrew, you're saying with your director's report?
Okay, let's see. Just hitting the highlights. So we had a holiday get together for the staff. Steve Hanley joined us as well.
That's
Steve
nice.
is a baker.
A baker.
Is that
He's a
right?
baker.
Baked
Yes, he did.
brownies, chocolate
Brownies
raspberry
and
brownies.
banana bread. Yeah.
Wow.
Couldn't believe
Who
it.
knew?
Who
knew?
Yeah.
That man can do anything.
So it was really nice.
It's been his military training.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice time.
Yeah, it was great. We did, because we wanted to do a leaves, but this was one. So we just went with the rest of the 45. That worked out pretty well. Let's see. I am gonna reach out to Shelley and Human Resources about an on-call library assistant. I haven't done that yet, but I will be.
She's out this week.
Is she? Okay. There's still, occasional gaps here and there that we're trying to, fill in different times. And I just think we can set up.
How often do you think it'll lose the person?
I would say a couple times, 2-3 times a month, maybe. Possibly, yeah. I think based on what things are looking like right now, 2-3 times a month. Staff reviews will begin in February, although Brenda, whose calendar year was January this last year. Been doing her review, some kind of this month. Facilities, yeah, so these 2 units weren't working, and the panel over here was not working at all. I called Victory, and then I called, who was it? Because they said, well, maybe you would call the individuals and install the HVAC units themselves. No, it wasn't Boucher, it's a different one, on the top of my.
So now that Victory merged with Gen, is that what it's
Yes,
called?
yeah, they did.
And so they're not the residential side anymore.
Yeah, I
You're
mean,
not doing residential at all?
Well, they are, it's the other side is the other side of the acquisition there.
Okay.
they haven't dropped us. Sure about this. And then they said, well, you better get in touch with the original, the ones who installed the electrical. Because they weren't getting a reading at all from that
Right.
unit. So, and that was Metropolitan out of Millis. So called them and, they came over like within a day or 2. And it turned out it was a blown fuse and there's all those units outside, blown fuse in a unit outside. And, once he'd done that, everything seemed to work fine. It was a little over $500. But it was thankfully something.
You
Impressed they came out.
Blue, I mean, that's.
That should come out of the relocation fund, should it not? Sorry.
No, it's already come out of ours, so, I mean,
Oh, I was gonna say, it should have come out of the relocation fund.
yeah, I didn't even think, maybe, okay.
But you guys paid for it out of your budget?
Well, it came out of building maintenance.
Building maintenance, okay. Well, I
You're okay
mean,
to handle that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if it had been 2,000,
Yeah.
I could see it saying, maybe we need to look at another option,
okay,
but I think, okay, that was, but yeah, I mean, based on the fact that it was the original.
right.
But yeah, I mean, I have no idea why it blew. No idea.
I would almost disagree with that, because if it's out of warranty, it's now a town building, and I don't think it should come out of the
It's.
Okay.
fund. I think it should be building maintenance.
Maintenance, okay.
What's the warranty is.
That's probably a year for electrical.
Year or 2.
But that's just part of the upkeep of buildings is on the town.
Right, okay.
Just cross fingers. Actually took out this unit, and that unit. Why it's all on that particular. And then the rest of them are different. Whatever they want to call it.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Think
we
it would
won't have
happen
that again.
again. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you do an annual maintenance on them? Do you,
Yeah, no, yeah, Victory does.
Victory comes out, does it?
Twice a year.
okay, good, okay.
Let's see, Superior Roofing, I've called, didn't hear back. The only drip that I've heard is over my desk in my office, which isn't really annoying.
A lot of torture.
Not at all. So, although, and I don't know if they would be the ones to talk to about this, the awning over here, as you come into the building, if it's rain, it drips down the side of the window. It'll probably be the same if it snows and we have snow up there. It drips onto the platform underneath the drop. You know? So, if they could take a look at that too. Mice. We had mice, but not many, from what I understand. Yeah, for now. So I called Milford Exterminating, and he came over like within a week, and he said it's gonna be caught early. Based on what I told him, there was an issue up in the workroom, an issue down here, basically places that we had some food, like he had a carton here in Monica, the German club, and there was a little bit of something like that. Everything else got put in plastic containers, nothing is, available for me now. It even ate part of my foam taco. That was stressful. Yeah, it was like, there was all these bits, I'm like, this is not food, I know it looks like food.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so weird. And then Tara and I were finding remnants on our desks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he went and he looked and, I thought it was really interesting. He said they like to take those electrical units, the piping, the intake and outtake pipes, that's what they like to do. And he actually, over by the board books. Over by the board books, there's a pipe and at the very bottom. And so he thinks that that's what they got.
Makes sense.
But he said he doesn't think it's widespread, he doesn't think there's a lot there. He baited, put down some things. And then what he does is he waits. He doesn't want to like trash the food out because all that does is attract the sharks.
Right.
So he would rather just put them down and then he says you wait 3 weeks, come back in 3 weeks, he's coming back in 6. And check and see.
Did he fill the hole?
Yeah, he actually, I'm sorry, he filled the hole, yes. And then, he did find a little sort of around the hole there, some remnants of things. So, he's pretty certain that that's where that came in. But, what's his name? I don't quite remember. Anyway, he said it just wasn't, he doesn't believe that there was that much infiltration. That's good. And I haven't seen, have you seen anything? I haven't seen anything like a week over a week.
Great.
Which is good.
At least it's not rats.
Yeah.
Here, there are those around.
Yeah.
Right. And let's see, I believe they're billing us or sending, at least sending us a bill shortly on that. It's gonna be in the $500 range. Never heard back from Jack McClellan, the Board of Health.
I meant to say something, I forgot.
The more I think about it, the more I think that that's a lot of extra for us to deal with necessarily.
Mhm.
Also would have to have them shoveled out regularly.
If they were at the highway.
Well, I know he was talking about multiple locations in town. I just don't know exactly.
They'd have to be time property.
I think it was maybe senior center, maybe he was talking highway, and he was talking libraries. But I haven't heard back at all, and I sent him some specific questions based on the last meeting. Let's see, budget. We've spent 51.8% of the budget through December, so that's pretty well in line with where we should be. A little bit above, and that may be because we've spent more on books recently. I'm scaling a little bit on the book figure. Because I think we're at 68% spent through December. Under contracted services, my apologies, there's a typo. It should say including 882 to Stephen. Missed that. Let's see. Increases, okay, so my assumption is that the salaries line went up, the regular salary, staff salaries line went up from 71,830 to 75,110.
Based
And
on the
that
extra
would be
2%.
Yeah, the extra 2%. But is that retroactive to last year? That's what I thought,
Yeah.
because the figure for this year is less than the figure, the amount that I actually have for staff
I
salary.
get very confused with those salary, because my
Yeah,
number
it's
doesn't conflict
confusing.
with, it should be either.
And one of my concerns is that retroactive salary is going to skew things somewhat, which when we talk about the budget for FY24, talk about, because there are formulas in there, and I don't know if they're going to minus out the retroactive. So it's just, I'm not absolutely sure because we haven't had to declare retroactive before.
Right.
This is the first time we've had to do that. The time. So that's why it's going to skew things a little bit, which is one of the reasons to kind of be where we're at. I'll talk. I talked to Amy, to Mary, Mary Brainy emailed her just the other day. She is in Arizona. She just wants us to know that she'll be cashing a check at the end of January.
Very nice.
So,
Well worth it.
Yes.
Money well spent.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
And something I was going to mention a little bit later, but the fact that she had the experience that she had, I remember early on we talked about doing this. And, we'll just get somebody who's done these focus groups and that before, and maybe not somebody who's had library experience. You can't really trade that for
Right.
experience was really important. There were a few hiccups here and there. We communicated back and forth on some things, and went back and forth one day, it's like, seems like this is the whole thing. But just trying to get the document right. But I can't fault like the knowledge that she had, and then just sort of putting it all together. She made it very easy.
That's awesome. So definitely the right decision.
Let's see, programs. So I'll just talk a little bit about programs we had. The Santa programs were very successful. It was amazing Santa who visited
Yes.
for story time and cookies with Santa via Zoom. And lots of people.
Thank you.
The one that we had here, it was amazing. I mean, for young children, they
Yeah.
sat
They
and they
did.
listened. I mean, and they weren't like all over the place. And it was really.
Well, they probably were told, he's gonna see you.
Hey, thank you so much again. I can't even tell you how much it means. Like, people love you. They love Santa. They love, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
And the Zoom one was.
It's so much fun.
It is, that is.
Yeah, it is really
You have the
fun.
musician there and everything.
Yeah.
So it's there's a little of this and a little of that.
And there's cookies.
And there are cookies. It was fun.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
So I won't go through all the figures in that, but adult book clubs have been very good. They actually just had 17.
Monday.
So it's like a high for them.
That's
They never had
great.
that many before.
Crazy.
So that's going very well. We already talked with Friends gift program, so I didn't have the numbers on who was at these sessions. Wasn't it? And then yesterday we hosted not hosted, over to, for the team book club, we had 7.
Yes.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
that's
awesome.
great. Boy, those, yeah, they're very enthusiastic.
Good.
How many kids?
7, and I think, the time before was 8.
Yep.
So,
They keep
there's
coming
so
back.
Various.
They're so funny and they're so, like, what they get from them, unbelievable, unbelievable.
So they want to do one like every month.
Yeah.
It's
a lot.
So we'll see what happens, but it was great. And then Meredith was back today.
Yep.
You're kidding around yoga. She's doing that,
Every month, second Wednesday of every month.
and she had really a lot of.
This
kids
morning,
turn up this
yeah,
morning.
absolutely.
It's great. She had a couple this afternoon,
Yes,
but this.
they did.
You've got a new play group starting tomorrow.
Yes.
Beginning Bridges.
Yes.
And Peggy.
Vivian Williams,
Yep.
That's like, good, fast.
super fast. We have a wait list of 9 people,
Wow.
actually.
That's very
Yeah,
cool.
it's insane how many, actually Emily, who runs the Beginning Bridges, was telling me that all of the groups have wait lists that she has. So she's trying to, plead to the ECC and to the state to get more money. And
Makes
it's
sense.
clearly, it's needed that,
Right.
people want these
Right.
groups.
Let's see, what else is coming up? Rory Raven, that's a reschedule.
Yes.
Because he wasn't able to do it in October. So, Strauss. The German Club, Katrina mentioned the Jellyfish by Water Workshop coming up. The German Club, man, that is through
So that many Germans in town?
they're not in town, they're coming from.
They're
all
everywhere.
town.
They're coming from
Really?
Grafton, they're coming from
Yeah.
Hopkinton.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
There's not anything like this, I think, outside of Boston.
Correct.
So I don't know how many they've had like at their max.
Yeah.
But they had I heard them singing German songs. Same night we had the last strategic planning committee. Yes, they were
Reception.
upstairs. Yes.
Yeah, they do a great job.
Yeah, no, she's doing great. And their craft group, actually, I should mention that also. They have a craft group every first Monday, handicrafts every first Wednesday of the month. 6 at this
Yeah.
point, and they're talking about that it's that popular. They want to do maybe every other Wednesday of the month, so 2 Wednesdays.
Oh, wow.
Expand it that way.
And people just come and bring their own craft and just sit there and
Yeah.
chat
Chit
and.
chat and show them what you're working on. Yeah. Absolutely. It's kind of a lame, but it's.
Yeah. Yeah,
But it's giving people a chance to.
right. Yeah, that's awesome.
Let's see, oh, we joined this, now, it didn't cost much, it cost $100 to join this Massachusetts Library Collaborative. Group of about 60 libraries, and they do networking for job seekers who are 50 years and older. You can join it at any time, there's a slate of dates, but join in the middle of it. It's not a big deal. And then I think they repeat it the next year, so you can just give them the first step.
So can you tell what the participation is?
She sent a list of, yeah, it's all virtual. So she sent a list of what towns, residents participated and how many. We have like one, but
But it's new.
it's,
First month,
it's,
yeah.
right, exactly. And you're trying to advertise it. It's on the
Yep.
website. We'll see what happens with it, but at least it's in the next
Mhm.
trial. And they do interview preparation, networking, LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's nice.
They do LinkedIn profile, that kind of stuff. And the woman who does it, I know, is very, she's done it for years. Right, you know, over 20 years. Job. Let's see, projects. So yes, the strategic planning committee, we met for the final time on December 19th. The committee was excellent. Everybody did a great job, was, committed to the work and provided a lot of really good feedback. I think I'm happy with that outcome. And like I said, the only thing at one point for me was it felt a little bit on Mary's schedule because she goes away in the wintertime. So a little bit of pressure to get it all squared. I'm actually almost glad at this point that we rounded it out and put together. Hopefully good to go. So the plan, I talked to Mary about this. One of the committee members said, well, it's not real not flashy, but I can't remember what she put it. It's not the kind of thing that is going to really draw people in. It's not super flashy. It's very nuts and bolts. But I said to her, this is our first one. Like nuts and bolts is what we need. And she said, you can repackage it. Like you can take what you've got there. If you need to jazz it up, then you can jazz it up. But I think it's the idea that this the people on the committee said they really want people to sort of get excited about it, get involved in that. There's ways to do that. This gets us to the point of actually starting to have some goals in mind and doing some things. So she said you can either, make it more involving to people on the next pass, or it can be. But we'll talk about it later. It's what we needed.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see, town news, most of that is about the budget proposal, which I'll go over. One typo in there, it's just that it was, we were $264 over the required amount. The municipal appropriation requirement that was set by the state. I don't have a lot to go over in this section, other than to say that regional news, the assessment for Taft was approved at the last Users Council meeting for CW Mars. It's, what is that, about $200 additional for this next year as opposed to the previous. I think it was, yeah, it was the same. I attended the circulation resource sharing meeting. Only just 2 bits of more interesting information come out of that, that if you're a student with the University Library card that is affiliated with CW Mars, you can use that now at any library. You should probably. But I don't think that anyone would ever, people just hand their card over to it.
Right.
But in any event, for whatever reason, I didn't even realize that as university students, couldn't like just walk in here and borrow with the garden. I think there must have been some sort of parameters that they had set to say no, and all of that, it's just for specific university.
So what if you, take a book in here and you turn it to the University in Boston?
Well, it would have to be a university as part of the CWMR system.
Oh.
So anything that's like west of 495, any
Okay.
university west of 495. So, and I won't even say any, because there are certain university libraries that are not part of the CWMR system. Like Assumption, I think is, if you took one of our books and you returned it to Assumption is some of the vice versa.
It's not difficult with the transportation.
No, I mean, we've had a few hits here. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. And just as soon as we went fine free, the whole region went fine free. So,
Oh, who knew? That's great.
yeah, so
We're
now,
ahead of the curve.
right, exactly. And if you are a library that's coming into the regional system, you have to begin as a fine free. So, yeah. And then the only other bit of regional news, we received our first state aid award in December of 670557. We should receive a second installment in April and May, and then it should be in the $6,000. So that's the director's report. Does anybody have any questions on the director? And then on the budget report, I don't have too much to say there. I was just going to mention that obviously the additional element in the salaries line. So it skewed things a little bit, and now salaries, we spent about 47.5% of that budget through the end of December. Like I said, the books is running a little high at 65.9. I've scaled back a little bit the last couple of weeks. But there'll be some orders coming up. So that was running a little high. Programming was running a little high. That's unusual. I mean, by this time of year. But as I think I've said before, it's very front loaded. A lot of it is summer reading. And certain programs in the fall. Most of it is front loaded because of summer. So let's see. Total expenses for operations is at 54.2% after December. And as I mentioned before, total budget is 51.8% after 6 months. And that's
Thank you, Andrew.
Okay. Strategic planning.
oh, yes.
Talk about the baby.
So, how do you want to do this, or how do you,
Well, you sent it out to everyone.
Right.
And everybody looked at it? Yes?
I put in the revision, by the way, just the wording. revision.
Married.
Yeah.
The myriad of-
Myriad in there twice.
Yes.
That wasn't.
That annoyed me.
I know, it is kind of annoying, and so I basically, I changed it to, it was, perform the myriad other tasks necessary to provide optimal service. So, yeah, you said that. So then I changed it to, despite a 19-hour per week part-time status, children's librarian plans and administers the many children's programs. Is responsible for planning and implementing programs.
Perfect.
So,
Thank
so
you.
I've changed that. It's kind of, what do they call that? A living document, so that if other changes need to be made in here, I have complete total control
As
of
you
the
should.
document now. Yes. So if there are other, if there are wording issues, if there's content issues, like all of that, I can, work on and it can be changed
If you do that, you have to resubmit it
to.
to the MB.
I haven't actually submitted it yet because it posts, once it has to be approved by the trustees first before I do
Sure.
that. But can I resubmit? Yeah, yeah. I know the top guy at the end of the
Oh, there you
for
go.
this. And so I even talked to him over the weekend about this. And again, it's an issue, like if we ever had to do a revision, I would resubmit a revision, but I'll double check them because it's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
She really did do a great job.
Yeah, I mean,
It would
comprehensive,
never be what it is without her.
No,
I agree, I
absolutely,
agree. If you had left it to us to do it ourselves and run it.
well, like I said, somebody that has done like
We just
focus
don't
groups, and that
know.
would have been fine, but
Right.
they don't really have.
Layout, and wording, and
Yeah.
how she worded it.
Yeah, it was just the way you and I would say it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't get the point across as well.
right.
And even like during the focus groups, like how she was able to pull things from people.
Yeah.
It was really, I mean, it's quite a talent that she has.
Yeah, and I think, she's, what has it been at this rodeo any number of times.
Yeah.
Right.
So like, there's a format that she certainly uses, but there's also room then for, you know, personalizing it to the library that you're working with. So I think, I don't have any qualms about what's here. But like I said, I'm open to any and all suggestions, and changes and so forth. She put in, the photographs, which I think was nice because it helped state some of the issues that we had.
Yeah, I agree.
I put together the vision statement, and then we kind of went back and forth on that, retooling it. We had a mission statement from before.
Yep.
And I then worked on the vision statement. The thing that I wanted to make sure to include in the vision statement, which wasn't necessarily in there to begin with, and I don't know if she understood why I wanted it in there, but I wanted to make sure that diversity was addressed, both in terms of like the kinds of fraternity we offer, but just also often comes to, yeah, exactly. But then also to ensure that there was something in there about open access, because there's so many general things that are happening now, and individuals where censorship is clearly an issue, so bringing open access to information was, I thought was important to have. So,
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's an excellent vision statement.
yeah, so I'm happy with the end result on that. I think that was the day. It's like, okay, this is a sentence or two.
Well, we had trouble even with the mission
Oh, I
statement,
know,
we were
I know.
going back and
Yeah.
forth.
Sometimes when you have to be more
Words.
concise, it's even tougher, so. Let's see. Oh, then, yeah, so she had pulled some things for the town of Mendon, the background and the history of, but then I had some things for the Taft history, and then, was it 18, what was it, 18 River Project, Bill 1820, passed more information on this. Sort of added some things in. That was something else. It was interesting, like we would do Zoom sessions and phone sessions. I don't want to go, too in depth into this unless you really want me to.
No, I don't think so. I think the reason we
Yeah.
distributed it, so everybody could look at it at their
Right.
leisure. and-
So I mean, essentially, it's a matter of, are there things that you want me to alter, change? And then it would just be a matter of my changing them, and I guess it could be then approved at the next meeting, but if you're fine with it now, I suppose. This,
My only change was period.
I can certainly, I don't know if you'll maybe resend it with that revision.
It's page 6, everyone. Myriad's twice.
Yeah, I actually have the correct one, I think, because
Yes,
I
think
think it's
I
page
need to
6.
revise one.
Maybe it's page, maybe it's a different page. I thought it was page 6.
There's a lot of work ahead. I kind of knew that there would be. There are a lot of X's in FY '23. And a lot of X's in FY '24, but it's all things that need to be done. But as she said too, we'll work towards getting those tasks figured out, completed in FY '23, things that we don't, they just didn't. She says it's not unusual if it happens.
now that this is a
These
living
things are
document,
Structure.
does it get presented to
Well, that's
anyone, like, as a, I don't know.
question.
Well, I do have to say that I did give an advance copy to the master plan CMRPC,
Oh, okay.
because we're almost ready with the master plan too, and I want this stuff in, like, I want this mentioned in there.
Yeah.
They were very happy to have it.
Oh, okay.
And they already added in the award that the building got.
Oh, excellent.
That's already in there.
Excellent.
So, and there were a couple of things that needed changing. In their meeting tonight, I was double booked, so.
Yeah,
So I sent it on to Ryan at CMRPC, and so at least that,
Okay,
I know it's not a voted on one, but unless we have any major changes here, we'll probably vote on this tonight. And then I don't think it would be a bad idea to present it to the select board, at least just to say that we have done this, here you go.
Right.
It's feather in your cap, really.
right.
And you really need to.
yeah, and we'll certainly post it.
Tops.
There are certain, you should post it on, we'll post it on.
Absolutely.
Of course,
Absolutely.
but if it
Yeah,
was,
just
yeah, if it
setting up
was
the time
presented and then pull out a few key, you don't have to go through every page, but you can pull out a few key points of,
to- Right.
It'd
Yeah.
be possible another way in the paper again to add excerpts in there, you know. what
oh,
the
that's a great
outlines.
idea.
Well, that's not a bad idea. Yeah. Have maybe somebody in the paper do.
Yeah, just depend on like what you want to pull out. I guess.
Yeah. Or even get one of them to come in and interview. And it has its first strategic, Taft Library has its first strategic plan.
Yeah,
No,
last time we tried to do this. 2000, I think from what I
Before my
understand, they
time.
were trying to do a joint library between Minden and Upton. Yeah, it's something that should.
Yeah,
And now,
So, yeah,
now
something.
that first document is done, it's done.
yeah.
Opens the door for funding,
Right.
for grants anyway.
Yeah, so I mean, I would think what we want to do would be, like you said, pull some things out, highlight certain things from PowerPoints.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So, you have this now?
Yeah.
Do we want to, once approved, just submit it to the select board initially anyway?
Well,
I don't know.
I think we need to send it to where it needs to go first. Yeah, I don't know that it's a rush that we send it to the select board, especially during budget season, and how we get rushed. So maybe
Oh, I'm
we
sorry.
wait till after, budget
Oh,
season
yeah.
and just,
Sure.
we can form our thoughts and present it.
Would be great.
I think that might be a better, what do you
Yeah,
think?
well, I agree that if it's in a meeting with a lot of budget things, and it won't get the attention that it
Right.
deserves.
Right.
But I don't know how, like, budget season go all the way up to town meeting. It strikes me that it would be nice to get something out before town meeting to get, like, voters, and
Well,
voters will vote on the budget, and so it would be nice to have it be at least.
Well, yeah, will it
publicized.
help our wish, when, I don't know what the word is.
Flight.
Yeah, will it help us if we present it sooner, as we're
I
asking
think
for the
it
budget?
might, so the warrant I know is gonna close, I have advanced knowledge, that it's going to close on March 15th, I believe. So you've got, by that time, the budget process is done, the warrant's closed, the budget's done.
Right.
So you've got from March 15th to the election, that we could use that time in there. I mean, they'll still be talking about the warrant
Right.
during their meetings from that time
So
until
it doesn't
time.
hurt to have it out there.
Right. And that's when we maybe get a good strategy would be the town clerk.
Yeah.
The new paper.
Free, what-
Yeah.
it's something.
Yeah.
Free press,
Free
Free
press.
press.
Is that the new paper?
that's it, yeah,
Yeah, it should be in your mailbox today, Wayne.
it's online too.
Don't worry, next.
Yeah,
next
I know,
month we'll have an
It was actually a little thicker than I expected it to be, being the first one. I think it's like 3 or 4.
I definitely was disappointed that I
Yeah,
submitted an
that's-
article 6 weeks before and it didn't make
Really,
it.
that's.
Did you do it before December 26th?
I did it December 14th. So, yes,
That's frustrating.
it was a little frustrating.
Is it the same staff?
Some of them are, yeah.
Oh, some of them are.
Some of them are, it says they worked for
Is
them.
that his name? Sports guy?
The sports guy is still Chris Billiani.
Okay. Huh, all right.
So the editors definitely.
I
Where-
think so.
Where are their offices for? It's-
Well, the other one's Alvin's house. It's not that.
Well, it's like that house has been sold.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know. I didn't really look at it.
All right, so we're gonna try to do publicizing between.
Yeah, so after the budget, after we presented our things, it doesn't hurt when you go for your budget meeting
Yep,
that maybe you mention it.
right.
But to present it to the full board, and then really start publicizing it.
Oh, and I should mention too that our budget meetings on March 1st.
Oh, it is, okay.
I think she had mentioned the 1st and 15th. And I had asked Ryder and sent it in.
For the first, on March 1st. That's good.
Yeah, I can certainly.
I do have a comment about, before we
Yeah,
do too much more on budgeting. Strategic plan committee, did you do an exit like poll or like almost like an
she
evaluation?
didn't have anything like that, which I thought was really kind of interesting.
If we could develop one, just to send out to the participants, like, how did you feel it went well? And
Yeah,
even she should answer it, you know, what did she think went well and what she thought? Because if anybody comes in and asks for a recommendation, we'd like to give her one, right?
right.
But then we'd be armed with more information about, maybe this is something you want to look at.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
And it's good for us too, in the future, if we want to have a panel like this again, what did they think went well?
Okay.
I mean, you might think something went well, but maybe they didn't think so.
It's actually right on the second page. It was 10, it was 10 plus Mary.
Yep, that's Mary, yeah.
And so 10, yep, and Mary's.
Yeah.
So that's all I wanted to say about that.
Like a quick sort of, you
Just a
know, 4 or
couple,
5 questions.
even a survey monkey, if you sent them a survey monkey, just ask them a few questions about, you know, what they thought about the process, how would you rate the coordinator, things like that, I think. And then maybe if she just gave us a brief, if she's willing to, she is cashing the check, so she doesn't really have to.
She would though.
Yeah, just a little bit of feedback maybe that she would give us.
Yeah.
It'd be helpful, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. We agree that we should put this to a vote tonight and accept or not accept it. I got a vote.
I'm fine with putting it to the vote.
Yeah, me too.
I reviewed it.
So. A motion?
I motion to accept the strategic plan as is.
All in favor? Aye. Congratulations, Andrew.
Excellent. So, the only other thing I have to do essentially is I will put on the bottom of this page approved on, what is it?
January 11th.
11/23.
And one thing, I think our previous chair probably would really love to see that we've done this. Amy?
Yes.
That's a great idea.
Do you have her?
I do, yeah.
Yes.
So, I have her email
Yeah.
that you can just,
Absolutely.
but I think it would be nice coming from you
Oh, yeah,
to
yeah,
say,
no
hey,
problem.
guess what, we finished it, you know?
Yeah, all right. Excellent.
Yeah, she would love to see that, I'm sure.
I'll send it her again.
Yeah, that'd be great. All right, and then, what I'll do in the meantime then is we'll send it to MBLC. We'll post it on the website. Is there anywhere, I know we just started talking about it.
I can put it as a news announcement on the town website. You're gonna do it on the library's website, right?
Yes,
I can just say, library releases its strategic plan or approves its strategic plan.
right.
It goes to the people who are subscribed. It won't be on, I mean, nobody really goes to the library page there except to click on that to get to you again.
I can just include a link or whatever to it.
Absolutely. I'll wait until you put the approval line on, like approved on.
Yep.
And then, and even if you want an official copy to be put into the clerk's office,
Oh,
stamped in and put in there, I can
That'd be
do
great.
that.
and then does
Posterity.
everybody on the committee, do you want, the trustees, do you want the official final version?
I do, I have a binder, a book binder.
I can see that.
I can make some. Let's forget.
Final to trustees.
It would be nice, I was thinking that, it would be nice to have bound copies of it, even if you were just to have some, not that you need to do them all, but even if we would just have some here, if people were interested.
After the ceremony.
Really,
You say about like have like.
Spiral.
Something.
Like spiral bound.
I have a spiral bound machine.
Oh,
Very easy to use. I can
might
make
just
copies.
stop over.
Print up a bunch of them. I've got plenty of the little black things.
I mean, it's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
It is. It's really a big deal.
All right, so let me,
Did we beat Hopedale?
Oh, it's a race.
yeah, they were working on it.
I think they were working on it too. Yeah. But maybe we share it with our surrounding libraries. Just email it to them. I don't know if we have to give them a hard copy. Just say,
Yeah.
you know, and if anybody wants the name of our consultant,
Um,
it's
yeah,
just a state aid money.
the other Blackstone Valley Library send all sorts of stuff, out, so why not? I mean, just.
Yeah,
why not?
We
Just
send
do
them
it.
all a copy of it, and then just mention Mary. That, good experience, be interested. Okay.
Not that I want to add more stuff to your plate.
Good. Fine. See. What else? Any place else that we need to talk about? Or anybody else? we should be thinking about this one? Giving this.
Do you think Brian Murray would want
I think you
something?
might, yeah.
Brian gave us funding to get that study done, the feasibility study. Well, he didn't, the state gave it to us, but he was behind it.
I think you would appreciate
I think so.
it. Good news is.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, cool.
He is a friend of libraries in general.
In fact, I may be seeing him again in March because library legislative day will be actually on site.
On site where?
On site.
Oh, in the, at the state.
At the state.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that email.
Maybe they can
I
bring a
saw,
copy to them.
I saw that email too.
He's always looking for a photo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He posts them all the time.
you're right.
Couldn't find him here.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, it'd be nice to be in our own house and get it to him.
All right, cool.
And he's local, he lives in Melbourne.
Send it to the radio.
Send it to him, and then let me know if you send it, mention it to Emily.
Do I have this? I'll check. I know I have the state house. I'll double check. If
I have his
not,
lawyer email.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, and well done.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
it's, yeah, I'm glad it's, we're there. Now, like I said, now the next step is to actually, it's a checklist, kind of daunting checklist, but.
Yeah.
nonetheless.
It was a nice process to go through, like, I know, like, when we were going through and reading, like, all the things that we're actually doing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we did that. Oh, we did that. I mean, it was like, it was affirming to,
Yeah, speaking of which, when we post.
okay.
If-
Oh, yeah.
Do you have the survey, well, actually,
All right.
whatever
I
survey.
think it's still on the
it is.
website too. I can take it off there.
I don't know if you happen to see any, I know I put some bookmarks.
Bookmarks,
there, and I
yeah.
put them up at the.
Treasurers, I'll check up there.
So, yeah, I would just,
Yeah, I'll check inside town.
make sure that's on it. Then we have to do it wrong,
Yes.
so. Yeah, you have on there, so we do a drawing for, we're doing a drawing for a local restaurant.
Great.
So we'll do that.
Free drawings.
Yeah, wasn't
Nice.
And the friends are gonna get those, right, Katrina? Gift
I
cards.
think so, yes. Was it 3 different age groups or?
No, I think it was just three
it?
different
Just three
spots in
different
town.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go ahead and get those and then do the drawing. So. We can do it wrong.
No,
Yeah, I know.
Right down.
Okay. Excellent.
All right. So on the agenda, I don't know if I put these out, we should just talk about them at the same time. I think the consider trial Mondays and the budget update, because
Yeah.
they kind of tie in together.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, the trial Mondays, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, that's something, yeah, because we talked about when could we not just,
Yeah, Andrew and I had a discussion, about asking for the more hours and being open, and we thought, well, maybe if we had some data by doing some trial Mondays that maybe state aid pay for.
Oh, wow.
Open up on some trial Mondays just to get some data on who's coming in.
Right.
I think it would be smart to advertise heavily before the first Monday, otherwise it's gonna be skewed the first Monday, nobody will be here,
right,
you know?
Take a while for people to get used to it anyway, though. You know, we're not gonna get the traffic we're gonna get, you know, it's gonna take a couple months for people to really get used to it. Because it's been years, decades, right, that we haven't been open on Mondays. So it's gonna take a while to
Yeah.
break. I think advertising is great, but it's gonna take months to break
I
that.
mean, you could have a soft opening, you know, let the people know here, put it on your Facebook page, whatever. And then really train them. Maybe the schools, you know, if the kids know that they can come here. I don't know how much traffic you get from the schools. Yeah, they know they can go online. But anyway, we talked about, because part of what we're gonna ask for is open 6 days a week, including the Mondays, not closing on Thursdays.
I mean, at a certain point, when we were talking, they were saying, well, we closed on a Thursday, well, that was just one.
That's, yeah. that's
Right,
what
that's all you were doing,
it's-
right.
Yeah,
Sure.
we should be open. Yeah, should be. So anyway, I don't know what everybody thought about that. We were just passionate over that, so we put on.
I think
Thoughts?
it's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I just don't think we're gonna get the traffic that, it's gonna take a while to really get true
So the
traffic.
question would be then, how do we get there? You know what I mean? How do we make it worthwhile to do this? I mean, is it a question of like advertising it heavily for a couple months before we actually do the drawing?
But we don't really have a couple months of.
No, we don't.
I think we need to advertise it. Can we put some of the programming on it? Get people coming in here for those kinds of events, and then they're here already, and it just reminds them, we're open on Mondays. On Mondays, there's another event on a Monday.
Do you have an estimate? Well, one, we need to decide how many hours we would do that for.
Right.
But how much would it take out of state aid each month to do
Yeah.
the Mondays?
Yeah.
Perhaps it is smart to just start, once you figure out, you have to figure out staffing and all that. Once we figure that out, maybe start right away, maybe start in February, and we just keep getting all the data right up till town meeting.
Okay.
You just keep getting data.
I could tell you how much it would be. I mean, to be honest, we already have one person who comes in for 5 hours on Monday.
So that's not an added cost, and they would already be here.
That's the thing, the pass is there. It's the other individual. I could augment a couple of them, do a couple hours here and there. Prior to time with the test.
Now,
What hours are you gonna be open?
Well, that's the other question.
what makes
I would say
sense?
it would probably make sense to try to do the morning. I mean, middle of the day is quiet, so like,
Right.
you have to choose one or the other. You either have to do like a 10 to 4 or like a 2 to 8. I don't know, you know what I mean?
I think the morning is 10 to 4, yeah.
10 to
We get
4
a lot
was,
of families.
10 to 4 was what I put down for the budget anyway. So,
So trial the 10 to,
I'm trying to look for.
so 6 hours.
Yeah.
It's
They
not
probably
like we
would
don't
be
have
nice.
the money in state aid. We do have the money in state aid, and you can use it for that, right?
Yeah, as far as I know, because I know that, when I talked to, this was a while back, somebody had said, well, we wanted to try weekends. I think you want to do like Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
We didn't have the money to do it, so we decided to do state aid and build it that way.
Mhm.
And then at a certain point, it's like, well, it's here, this is what we have, and this is how many individuals are coming in, and it just became part of the.
And as you have people in here, you know, pull them on the way out saying, do you like the Mondays? If you like the Mondays, please come to the town meeting. I mean, obviously not everybody's gonna be a voter and that comes in, so people from other towns come in too.
Right.
But have them really support us.
I mean, what you're looking at essentially is one additional hour for, I would assume she. 6. It's just something.
Right.
We figure that out. But at the very least, that 5 hours of that is. 4 hours of that is covered already. Does it come down to some skills? So then you're really just looking at what? 8 hours. Yeah, definitely. That's if I'm not doing any hours, and that's what you.
Yeah.
On Monday?
That doesn't go over there, whatever. Nobody turns it, we don't want anybody.
Nobody,
in
yeah,
there all the
nobody
time.
would go over that, yeah, nobody would go over
Right.
that. Designated amount. So like 11 or
Yeah.
10 or 11 hours. Maybe not. Seem not to be contingent.
Anyway,
Maybe your wait list people could come in on that one.
for a group?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but then I would have to finagle my
Oh,
hours.
your hours, right.
A different day. Yeah, because I am unfortunately free on Mondays. Yeah. So,
Thank you so much. I know.
Sorry. Tara used to take care of my parents on Monday and Fridays. Okay.
But,
but yeah, I could definitely do that.
I mean, if it's a matter of.
It's a thought.
Yeah.
If you've got 12 Tuesday evenings,
I have.
yeah, programming Tuesday, evening, programming Tuesday.
Right,
Mornings.
right.
Um,
If I could,
Split that day.
if I could bow out at like 6 o'clock on Tuesdays. Sometimes that.
Wednesday, well,
Wednesday, but I programming. I could bow out early. Probably,
we're
a
talking
couple
about, yeah,
hours.
it's like a couple hours, right?
Right,
So we'd find an hour here and there.
yeah, we can figure that out. Yeah, I can talk, I don't think Lori would be able to do it with me. But maybe I could talk with Emily to see
Okay.
if I could just borrow their stuff and do it myself. I mean, I did it myself before.
We saw them issue. I mean, additional people can.
Right, right, as long as they're available on Mondays. If not, I could throw story time. Could throw another itty bitty, I probably get the same people who come on Tuesdays, who come on Mondays
They probably
too,
would, yeah.
Oh,
you know, honestly.
I haven't had somebody ask me recently about afternoon and evenings.
Yeah.
Really? Interesting.
Because their kids in preschool,
Yes.
so they don't have the opportunity. In the afternoon, but, you know. You know,
Well, if Mondays become permanent, maybe it's a Monday.
yeah,
Yeah, could be.
anyway, to start, if it was a matter of doing that program, it's a couple hours,
I could throw something
that we
together.
could figure out an hour here, an hour there, that we take off of it.
Yeah. Right, right.
Don't do that.
So yeah, if you want me to do that, I can call Emily tomorrow and ask her, like, if she had a wait list for Monday people.
Right.
Because I could throw, because I still have all the stuff from like the nursery run and things, I could throw that out.
Okay.
I could do that.
And what, when we were talking about February, or,
Well, we should talk about it, it should just be me saying stuff. But if you need a few weeks to gear up for it,
probably,
February would be good, and we
Yeah.
just keep going. And then you're gonna have some data by the time town meeting comes up. You'll have a month's worth of data for your actual budget meeting.
right?
And
And what do you want, I mean, what we're essentially looking for is attendance figures and programming numbers.
and desire to have the building open on
Right.
Monday, you know,
I say we could use the credit we have at Vistaprint, make up a poster as well. That we could print a few posters and hang them around, hang one at the schools, hang hang them even in here, hang them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, like not a lot of wording, but just a lot of like, quick to the point.
yeah.
Mondays, what's that for?
Yeah.
Right.
And
You said you had bookmarks for the survey.
We did.
Those are.
stick them right in the books and they take
Yeah,
them
that's a
out.
great idea.
Yeah, we could
That's a
put
good
it
idea,
in
too.
We could do that at Vistaprint too.
So my concern is that if things go south, people, what, you closed on Mondays again? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
budget didn't get approved. What was I gonna say?
so I think maybe it
Well,
would be
you
good to
call
let
it
them know that.
trial.
This is a trial,
Right.
Right.
we're trying to
Yeah,
get
no, the
funding,
language has to.
Right.
and maybe they can, right?
Right, yeah, the language has to be worded that it is a trial.
And, yeah, get them to town meeting. I mean, usually have a little better attendance at annual town meeting. But they need to understand you know, what we're asking for. It's a town building and services that libraries should be open 6 days a week.
Mhm.
We're not a town of 500 people.
No.
Everywhere. So, anyway, that's what we were thinking about Mondays. Anybody have any concerns against it?
Would it,
If you started in February and actually used the February vacation, Monday and February vacation, had some programs there.
Special programming for President's Day.
Oh, good.
Would you, oh, you'd be,
Or
would
is that a holiday?
that be considered
She
a?
might be in
that's a
Disney.
holiday. I wish I was in Disney.
Oh, it's a holiday, they're not open.
Yeah, I wouldn't be open
Right.
anyway.
So I mean, that, you know.
That's a
top
Monday
of our
holiday,
holidays
right?
fall on
Yeah.
Mondays, so
Yeah.
we will have some Mondays.
That's okay, though.
If I was to do like a play group on Mondays, typically I would start that at like 9 or 9:30. Would that skew the numbers? Could I still count those? Or should it be a group that happens when we would be open at 10 o'clock, like a story time? Is that like cheating a
Well,
little
they
bit?
would be otherwise not be able to do it on a Monday, right? So I think it's a valid number.
Okay, all right.
People that are attending a Monday program.
These are numbers from.
Right.
30,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
including the play group.
Including
that
a play
occurs
group that starts before opening.
Before.
Okay.
But there still is,
Yeah,
Still valid, but.
yeah, as
Right.
long as we're qualifying it.
Mhm.
That's the-
Okay, all right.
So now we should talk about, everybody got Andrew's budget proposal
Yes.
that he's going to send out. I thought it was very well written.
It's a format that I've used before. I had wanted to sit down with everybody before I had to submit something. I didn't realize, or I didn't understand that this was something that they had wanted.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna have more time to get it done too.
So, that said, this is just one, well, I do have some questions because we have a select board member here. And questions about the process itself, because there are certain things I don't understand. And I don't think I've ever understood. But we'll get to that. But this is just a scenario. And the scenario is essentially for an additional, so that we can give them 42 hours a week as opposed to 30, which gets us from Monday through Saturday.
Still not at the 57.
No, it's possible with shuffling some schedules, we might be able to get up to 46 hours a week
Without changing your
without
totals.
changing totals.
That's
Right.
magic.
Yeah, I mean, if that's possible and we can do it, great, awesome. So when I went into this, my thought was, because what we did last year, and for those who are new to the board, like last year, sort of all the eggs went into the staffing basket. To the point where I said, this is what we need. The other lines, we could stand pat on outside of the books line because books has to be 98% of our budget. So if you do anything with payroll or with operations and those numbers go up, then the books number is. So that was the only alteration in operations last year was that books. And then everything else was salaries. But this gets to my point last year, which was my concern has always been that I submit this and I get one swipe at it.
Right.
I get one swipe at it, and it's never a question of, well, can you come back to us with something a little more manageable?
Right.
Or a different scenario. It's always submit this, good luck.
No soup for you.
Yeah, I mean, and you can't work with that.
Right, that
You know,
doesn't seem like a budget process to me. That's
No, it's
like,
not really a process, it's
it's
one process.
arbitrary and you never
Yeah.
get feedback on why you asked us,
Right,
I mean, why we were cut.
and so
Never get that
yeah,
feedback.
what happens is they come back and say, this is what you got, but I don't have any clue why I got it.
And we usually find out by looking at KVS. Oh, we got asked. No.
Right, yeah, I'll look the next day or whatever after they've approved it and I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, so we got this, we got this, and invariably it's, we got, additions to,
Things we didn't ask for.
operations lines. Well, yeah, so this is what happens too, because sometimes I'll look and I'll say, that's not the number I submitted. But then I got more in this particular account, or I got half of what I wanted in this account, but I don't get an explanation. So-
And that's frustrating.
Yeah, and like I said, where's the process when I get one crack at this? And then that's it.
Right.
I mean, it's not that it just dawned on me, but more lately I'm thinking on it, like, what is that? You know,
It
so,
feels like somebody should be sitting down with us, working with us to get to the number that's gonna get presented to everybody.
Right.
And there's an agreement for that
Right.
number.
so yeah, so like I said, this is the one scenario. From what I understand, and Elena, you can correct me if I'm wrong, like, we can, if we want to lower that number or
Right.
bring the number up, we should be able to resubmit to that link that you sent me
Right.
prior, and I think it said at least, all it has to be is a week prior to our budget meeting.
So your
Is that
budget meeting,
correct?
right.
So if people aren't on board with this and we can submit this, and then like say in February, you're like, well, okay, I think, maybe we need to bring this back, we need to do this. Then it could be resubmitted. Am I right about that?
My dream is you're gonna submit this tomorrow, most likely, put it into
Yes.
that page.
I mean,
Hopefully
that link
somebody
comes
will
up, and it's
contact
basically
you.
just you upload, right? And
Yeah, you
upload
just
that.
upload the document.
And then I think I sent an email to the town administrator to say, I have submitted the document.
It's in that spreadsheet, you upload it, and then it says notify someone, you can just put her name in
Okay,
and you
okay.
notify her.
All right, fair enough.
But in a real world, you would hope that she would see these numbers
Right,
and call you and say, okay,
Yes.
walk me through this, oh,
yes.
what are you looking for? Or she says, you're not gonna get it.
Right, I would love if the person would contact me and say, this isn't gonna fly. Or I think we could potentially do something here, but maybe not here. That, if you give me feedback, then that's something I can use.
Right, that's a process.
Yeah,
That's a
and then I
real
can say,
process.
all right, okay, so, I don't know, just choose something. Contracted services.
Mhm.
We don't think you're gonna be able to get an additional 2,000. However, you can put forward something half that, whatever, she didn't have to be that specific. These are the areas that I would address because I believe they're too high.
Mhm.
Okay. That's fine, that's great, that's what I want. I don't wanna go in, drop this in, and then not hear anything about it until after the budget meeting or get blindsided during the budget meeting to say, this is never gonna happen. Tell me that beforehand, before I go in. I'd rather.
Now, do you know, once he submits that to that spreadsheet, do you see it?
Yeah, because this is my first year
It's
doing
that
this.
It's new this year for
Yeah,
us too.
so, right.
What does Tom stand?
Town of Mendon, I think.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean,
Okay.
it's supposedly I had to go to a website to find it because it wasn't on my computer.
Well, I'm glad you sent me the link because I couldn't fact check to find it.
I couldn't find it at all,
Yeah.
but, it goes in there. Is Kim the only one seeing it? Because that would be information that other, you know,
Right, sometimes the information doesn't come to me, but if I know where to look for it, I can find it.
Right.
So I can maybe ask.
I mean, I think it is a shared drive, but I don't have SharePoint on my computer. I think the select board does have SharePoint. And that's where it ultimately is going. It's someplace in SharePoint. And it's a folder called Town of Mendon Finance, Bud 24 budget or something like
Yeah.
that.
But what's interesting though is you can see everybody's docs that have been.
Yeah, you can see everybody else's docs.
Can you go in and look at theirs?
I think if you click on it, you can.
Really?
Most public, it's,
I guess, okay.
yeah, well, yeah.
You can't manipulate it, can you?
You shouldn't be able
You
to.
shouldn't be able to, but you can manipulate the spreadsheet that was sent to us. And that's not okay,
No, no, I know.
because I don't want to get blamed for a spreadsheet issue.
Well, you know, especially if I put figures into the spreadsheet and then we come back to that spreadsheet later and like, these aren't my figures.
And I don't think anybody would do that
No.
intentionally.
I don't think so.
But certainly I could make a mistake and be backspacing on somebody else's line item, I didn't even know.
Oh,
it was
yeah,
there,
absolutely.
You know,
I don't want to mess with somebody else's.
yeah, I don't like having that kind of power.
So the way I look at this is scenario one. I do have that scenario that I sent
That's a
today.
big ask.
Yeah, it is, this is the big ask.
I mean, it's not the biggest, but.
But is this is like the maximum ask
Right.
that we would have for this year.
Green.
Yeah, and
And
But
it's
I
a
would
good, it's a
rather-
good, it's not
I
unreasonable.
would rather do that because what happened last year is in asking for the start, and I knew we were gonna be cutting it close, in asking for that and then getting nothing.
We got nothing.
We got nothing,
And
and
told
we
to
wound up
ask
being
again.
$264 above the municipal appropriation, which I don't ever. wanna
And
be-
I don't know if
I
you
don't
understand
wanna
what
be in
that is,
situation.
Elena.
I read about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that makes
Right,
sense.
right. There's a couple criteria. One is, there are, I think there's 3 different criteria. One is you have to be open a certain number of hours for the state. And we're at 30. I believe, so yeah, so 30 hours and then municipal appropriation requirement, which is what the state requires of the town to give the library in terms of the budget. And then the materials expenditure requirement, which is we need to be spending 19% of our books.
So we're really getting a state minimum for a budget, is what we're getting. Just
Yeah.
over it,
Yeah, I mean, last year, yes.
the state.
Yes, yeah. This one, when I sent this last document, brief document, is about, based on my calculation for what the adjusted municipal appropriation requirement would be. If you look at scenario one, which is this max scenario, is 66,000 over. But that shrinks every year. Like in this first part of this document, in FY21, we were at 6,597 over. Then in 22, we were only 1,875 over. And by last year, we were 264.
So in essence, they're not keeping with the pace
Right.
of,
Right.
we're actually losing funding.
The idea is to, yeah, and the idea is, so the budget, the scenario number 2 was, okay, what happens if the staff hours, we get none of that again? There's a possibility. I wanted to make sure there was enough in operations so that we were above the MAR and not just like 1,000, because that's not gonna help us. And 5,000 is not gonna help you because.
The next year it's gonna be right in
Yeah,
the same place.
Absolutely. So that's why it is where it's at and is what 13,000 for, you know, MAR.
What happens if we go below that? We don't want to do that.
And if you get in waiver territory, eventually, if you can't get out of waiver territory, you're decertified. And when you're decertified, you don't have the privileges that the region affords you typically. And most libraries, this happens with Millville.
Okay.
Most libraries will say, okay, you're not allowed to even borrow over it. You know, you can immediately borrow at the Millville library, right? But other libraries are going to shut you out. And I understand it completely. They don't want to have
Encourage
that
it.
power taken away of the need to be certified by the state. So when Millville, we had occasional people come with charges. It's unwritten. For a while there, Upton was talking about servicing Millville patrons. Do you remember this whole thing? when Mendon was,
Regionalizing.
you know, and Mendon was in trouble because of hours that were cut. And that was just back in 2010 or whatever. And Upton was talking, oh, we'll just serve them. It's just, that's not helpful. And,
No.
and there's almost like an unwritten agreement that you don't do that.
Right.
Because
It makes
it's,
sense.
it destabilizes or weakens everybody's.
And this town invested in the libraries we opened, what, 7 years we've been open now.
Oh,
Just
yeah, this
almost
building,
7
absolutely.
years.
Yep.
We don't want to throw that all away and
No.
be in waivership.
Right.
And I don't remember the number of years you could be in, it's not very long, 3, 4 maybe. I think it's changed.
Well, let's hope we don't even
We
get.
don't even
and
want to
short-
get there.
No, no, and that's why to me, it was important to sort of build in this amount. Because it's gonna shrink, you know, if they don't continue to appropriate the budget that we should be getting based on what the state says.
I think it's worded very well too. I think when we presented it last year or whenever it was, I feel like at the selectmen's meeting, people were getting hung up on the way certain things were worded and
I know.
some people couldn't understand what we were asking for.
Right. I don't want to get into the arguments of, well, what are your programming numbers? Because it was completely beyond
Right.
what we're talking about.
Right.
Which is actually having access to the building.
Right, they were
Not just
getting,
for programs,
right,
no, don't get me wrong.
But they were getting
Huge
hung up
part
on
of what
that.
we do, like we were talking about it, what was I talking about today?
I'm sure there's people that come here just to have a friendly face or.
I started coming by.
To be right.
We have people who come here to just meet.
I'm at least at the library.
It's important.
Yes.
Like,
The night before a book sale.
people coming here now.
And
like,
all suddenly we became the
tutors who
president
come
of
in
the
and
Friends of the
tutor
Library.
students. All that stuff is important. It's all community.
We had, this person is no longer on the FinCom, which is probably a good thing for us. He was always stuck on, like, I wanted to open the town clerk stuff. This was
Hmm.
some evening hours.
Hmm.
And I wanted them to approve me to be 35 hours at the time instead of 32.
Hmm.
Well, just open later. That was the approach. I'm like, then you're just enfranchising people in the morning, you know?
Yeah.
That person isn't on the FinCom anymore.
But you're trying to make available early hours when people, and later hours when people said they want to come.
Yeah, in the middle of the day, well, then staff can get stuff done. In the middle of the day, a bit slower, right?
Right.
Because you do need that time.
Right.
And, things are happening. I mean, but a lot of what happens is between
Morning.
9 and like 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then picks up again.
Oh, 4. Yeah.
But, people come over during their lunch hour, check stuff out. People come over,
They have meetings.
yeah.
They come and do work, and they
Students
sit
come,
down
college
here.
kids have come in to do work.
You've got more boards using the meeting rooms too.
Every month now, I think we have at least 2 or
Cultural
3
councils in here.
town councils that come in. So all that is not those documents, but all that stuff is important.
It's all important.
It's all important, but, and of course, having a collection is, all of it, to me, there's not one thing more than the other.
Right.
It's all a part of what we do.
It's time to rebuild. They invested in the building. Now let us offer that building the way it should be offered.
Right.
Don't let it sit here empty, right? Um,
So what I was gonna say about this is that there are other scenarios that could work. Like, another scenario I thought of is, well, could we take the scenario from last year, which was 10 additional hours? So the total would be 5 additional, 5.
Still full-time.
It'd still be full-time. And could that be joined with the operations? And so it could be, but that's up to you, what you want to do with this.
I'm thinking you have to have these things in your back pocket in case somebody says,
Yes.
well, you're really asking for a lot. Well,
Right.
I have plan
Yeah, that's what I was
B.
thinking. So here's scenario 3, which is what we proposed this last year, but also operations numbers that reflect their current.
Mhm.
So I think that's the question, is how many scenarios do I need? And I mean.
I don't know if they'll jump.
But people might. So like, it would be good to have it,
Yeah.
prepared.
I mean, I'm not gonna be able to have every permutation, I don't think.
No, you're
No,
not,
but what was the one we talked about before we came to this bigger number?
But that was what it was, it was 10,
Like
it was
last
10
year's
additional
number.
hours.
Right.
24, so probably 24, and we had 5 additional hours for
So
staff.
I think that's what
Getting
you
us
have in your
to-
back pocket.
trying
You
to-
don't even have to do it for work.
Well, yeah, I mean, the only thing is that everybody's rates change.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't see the problem with that, and I think that that's something I'll have.
Mhm.
Um,
And I don't mean to be like making decisions for everybody if you feel like it should
No,
be something
no,
different.
I
My
agree.
other question then would be too, like, how are you with the operations numbers as they are? Because, I mean, that, we're going up. on the
65
operations
grand,
line.
you gotta do it.
Yeah.
Right? How many years, Andrew, have we been asking for more hours for Tara?
Plus,
10+ years. Last year, I really thought we were there,
I really
we were
thought
bamboozled.
there.
You
I thought
know,
we
we were told, yeah, got slashed, no feedback, ask for it in November, which
Well, and so,
didn't make any sense.
Right.
and this is part of the issue too, is I.
And then when we asked for it in November, they were like,
What are you asking for it this time?
what do you mean? We don't have any money.
Yeah, the approach, and my approach is, and I think it's, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but this is the way it was before, was, all right, I'll be deferential about operations. If we don't put anything in operations, just try to get this. What's the point of that? There's no point of that.
No,
What if
there is
I
no point
need-
of it.
What if we need accommodations.
Everything's gone up, it has to go up.
Oh,
No
yeah.
choice.
Well,
Well,
And
and
the
now
doc-
we've been in this building 7 years, so the maintenance on this building is gonna go up too.
Right.
It's 7 years,
It's starting to, you can see
Yeah.
500 here.
and we've been asking for
$1,000
longer than
there.
that.
well, and not only that, I mean, I just paid out $2,500 for
Mhm,
National
electric.
Grid in December. That's what, over twice.
Yeah,
64%.
my home bill was the same.
Yep,
Yeah.
my home bill was really high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Supposedly, we're going back into the green aggregate program eventually.
Like I said, some of these lines hadn't been changed in 5+ years, 8+ years.
Right.
I
you
left
kept
them because I
steady.
was like, you know, and I, for what it's worth, just having seen what others have done, I know other departments have operated on that as well, which is to say, I don't think you should ask.
Yeah, there's a lot of times I don't touch like certain line items.
Yeah.
I don't touch it.
I know that those of us who are lower on the scale of departments, typically, that's, like, I've talked to Dan before, I've talked to Amy before, and it's always been a question of, oh, well, you know, we're not gonna ask for this. Why are we doing that? What's the point of that? I don't see the point of it.
We tried that,
Yeah,
And
we
it
have
didn't
tried
work.
that.
right?
Yeah.
Time to try something
Especially
different.
last year when I'm like, look what I'm allowing here. No increases except for the books line.
Mhm.
If you'll just consider staffing. So anyway, I don't want to believe
Well, and,
it.
so you're gonna submit that to Kim tomorrow.
Right. As long as everybody's. okay.
Should we also be sending it out to, or is that circumventing her process?
I don't know.
Or just alerting people that it's in there? Maybe you could send the alert to the entire sentence instead of just, let people know it's in here.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were told that we would have access to them, so, but I don't know yet, right, whether we'll get
Or-
like an alert.
Or is anybody accessing it because they don't
Right.
see the need yet?
Am I overstepping? I mean, would you just, I don't know, would you be able to send them a notice that this is, I don't know.
I don't know, so I mean, because I'm so new to this, I mean, it's literally my.
Because I think the
first year.
FinCom's supposed to see them too.
Okay.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
they've got
the
a
worst thing in the
couple
world would be
people.
to put that in there and for nobody to have seen
To
it,
look
because
at it,
last
right.
year it was the same. problem.
Right.
And I know what happened, well, I know what happened last year is that I sent it and said, please forward this to,
And it didn't
and it
happen.
didn't get forwarded. I don't want that to happen.
I will make some. And like, at least can ask some people, like,
Yeah.
what is the best way to go about and make sure that there's clear communication
That it
about
gets in the
budget
hands of
process,
everybody,
so
that
that,
it should be in the hands.
yeah.
Right.
That's the first
I
thing.
mean, the feedback, it's non-existent right now, so.
I did have the impression, at least when, you know, I was at the meeting in the fall, when,
Yeah.
like, it felt,
Some had seen it, some had not.
well, yeah, I mean, I've been sick, so like, but
Yeah.
I think the issue was like, it was framed as, oh, we can't address budget now because it's not budget season, this has to come back in budget season.
Yeah,
Right,
So,
Right.
like,
even though we were
right.
told to come
I
back
know.
in the fall.
Oh, we come back.
But I did have the impression that a couple of other select board members really wanted to support the library more, like, you know,
Yeah.
coming May, so like,
Right.
So I got that impression also at that meeting, that
Yes.
there were definitely a couple of board members that were showing that they were interested, but they didn't quite understand
right.
what we were asking for.
Well, no, I don't think that was it so much as it was explained as not something that was, it was not possible to
It was not up
change
for.
the budget at that point.
Okay.
That's sort of where funding things happened were not sort of planned budgeted expenses.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I'm relatively optimistic this year that like at least I think there are people who are paying attention and interested in seeing the library get the increased staffing. Increased staffing, like, I don't know, like where things
Right.
get slide,
Yeah,
but.
I think my only concern about this is the way it might be taken, because it's a bigger ask than it was last year.
Right.
Well, half of those people don't even know what the ask was last year.
And I think you have great rationale here.
I wouldn't worry too much about.
I agree.
As long as,
Yeah.
as long as there's a free exchange of, okay, this isn't gonna fly, this isn't gonna work.
That's the way it should work. It's like, give us a chance to come back to the
Give us a
drawing
chance
board.
to come back to you.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll retailer it, retweak it, retailer it, and I'll bring it back.
Yeah, it shouldn't be all or nothing.
No,
It should be, all right, well, we
but
can
that's the
do
way it
this.
has been for 10+ years.
I know, I know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We've heard that before, so it can't be any worse than
Yeah,
what we've
I know.
already heard.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean,
And the bigger the ask, like, maybe they'll come back and they'll be like, well, we can't give you all of it, but we'll give you
But
part of it.
yes, yeah, I mean, I totally understand all of that, and I think this is the better way to go than the tack last year. It was, last year it was, I thought, okay, let's try this, and I felt that there was some room there last year, and it just didn't come
It's like-
to pass.
It's like last year, like, we kind of tiptoed in.
Yes.
No, bolted through the door.
Yeah.
It was like, can I make this palatable
Right.
Right.
for you? But why, palatable is fine if it gets you everything you need, but it's not fine if the things that you really need aren't addressed within the budget. And it's,
So do you know, I asked you this before, I don't know if you actually did it or
Yeah.
we're waiting. For libraries in towns of similar size, how many full timers are on staff?
oh, yeah, I even wrote it down the other day, because I went back
You're
to,
the only full timer, that's just ridiculous. that you
I went
have-
back to the notes from this last time, I'm like, I gotta do that. So, yeah, I will reach out to,
Okay.
the Blackstone Valley libraries.
Yeah, particularly ones that are around the same size as us, though.
Well,
It doesn't have to be necessarily in the area. A
right.
library
right.
that's a similar town.
Yeah.
How many full timers are on their library staff?
I can actually sort of speak to that, because the classes I took, so,
Yeah.
through the MBLC, I had to do a comparison of like towns with our, same, median income and size. And we were like the only library that had one full-time employee, unless of course it was a one-room library,
Like,
with just one librarian, and that was it.
Right,
That was the only one.
right.
It's
Yeah,
unheard of.
no, one thing I could do, certainly is reach out to the library, just because I think it would be interesting for
In the area.
the select board anyway, to know in the area, the
That would be-
libraries that are right around here, what is the composition there?
Right.
of their staff?
And also, with Tara, she finished the schooling, she got her, certification.
Right.
And,
But I
she
can,
stuck around,
yeah,
she could market it herself, but
absolutely.
she's vital to this library, she needs to be full-time, she needs to be your second in command, she is your second in command, but she
Yeah.
needs to be here, when you're not. right?
Hey, when everyone's gone. It's fine in this place. But yeah, I think, there may be some stats too that I could pull from the MBLC website about the similar sized towns.
There is,
Yeah.
it's buried in
It's
there,
buried.
it's on there, but I can try to look back to and
Um,
see when it is.
Who attends that budget meeting on March 1st? Is it
Well,
just you, or is it?
I think
No,
it's,
a lot of
Yeah.
people. Anybody can.
yeah,
So, but if we have a quorum and we're going to be speaking, we'll have to post too. So the FinCom will be there, the select board will be there, the town administrator will be there, and then whoever else wants to be, and all the people that are meeting that night. So you probably have a string of people. There's a lot of them on February
so,
1st.
March 1st, I can't remember who's at 7 o'clock, we were listed for 7:15.
7:15. Are we in the middle of people?
No, we're
Nobody
we're
behind
second, we're second,
Is there nobody behind
oh,
you?
there's people,
Oh, there's people.
well, yeah, now that I think of it, yeah, there are. But,
Well, it doesn't matter.
yeah.
We're gonna take as much time as we need.
Right, so,
Your reception. Thanks for staying.
Lincoln has a dentist appointment. Jason's like, did they text you yet?
You look at the there's a report of health, these reflections of aging and veteran services.
Oh,
That's
small.
So it's like 60.
Did you say police?
No, BBT, Library Board, Board of Health, Waste Collection and Disposal, Council on Aging. Veteran Services.
That's all, that's all.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Amy's FG. Good. That's a good thing.
Don't be late.
Yeah, no, I'm here for that, for the duration of it.
Yeah.
I will certainly be there a little before that. Okay. All right,
So I think we have a plan. I mean, you're doing what
This
you're
will get
supposed to do.
posted
Put
tomorrow.
that up. I'll go in
Um,
and see if I can look at it. I probably can.
Elaine,
Because I
if you
haven't.
don't mind finding out how it gets into everybody's hands in the select board, and if it's a matter of like,
Yeah.
you think that it would be best for me to send it to the select board?
I mean, I certainly can ask about the process because I'm learning it, so,
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
probably,
Good, that'd be great. I don't want to overstep, you know.
Right. But you also have
I
to be
need to get it.
proactive.
Yeah.
And we got screwed last year because it didn't get into the right hands. Turns out it wouldn't matter anyway, we probably will.
But at least it would have been in front of people so that they knew.
I mean, a select board member asked you specific questions, you did it, and it didn't get to that person.
Right.
Right?
Yes,
That's a mess.
yes. All right, so for the time being, this will just be submitted.
Yeah.
To Tom.
And we will, come up with a plan of trial Mondays.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so we want to start that in February.
And you probably want to talk to your staff.
Yeah, I need to, I think it's, some of it's going to be contingent on if Monica can help us. She's been really good, like, just even something here and there. So I have a feeling that Monday might be all right with her, but I don't want to say so.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, worst comes to worst, I could do more hours on Monday, but I'm going to use some
I'm
office.
just trying to work it with your staff first. Why
Yeah.
put yourself in
I
this?
can figure that out. Okay.
We certainly have plenty of funds in state aid. Fund a few months.
Yeah. And I think I've got everything done.
Yeah, let me know, because I can easily, if you can give me the verbiage, I can put together a quick poster and send it off to Vistaprint if we want to do that for
For the
advertising.
Mondays, right.
Yeah,
Starting in February.
Let's see.
Put your days on. Santa book?
From materials.
No, these are the, license I was going to give to Tom. I did a program at church.
Oh, is that the adult program?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, is that you? Oh, look at that. That's
nice, Wayne.
And I had,
That's so cool.
Leanne Lukemeyer, I don't know if you know her from Auckland, she's an illustrator of children's books.
I've heard her name.
And she did the,
Hmm.
she did the pictures from, I got the originals today, I mean,
Oh,
we
check
spent a
that
lot
out.
of time, yeah.
That's awesome.
It's really cool.
That's very neat.
See what?
Oh, that.
Sorry, I'm still hungry.
I think it would pass eventually.
I like it. Did I see it? Does it say slave?
Thank you.
Oh, you did?
I sang it, you know.
Did it say slave phone?
It was the adults, yeah, there were about 100 people in my church.
Slave phone and North Pole Workshop. Okay.
That's awesome.
Those illustrations.
Did she use the model? Cause I kind of.
Oh, yeah, I sent her pictures and we sat and talked about the buckles on the boots, and I mean, it's an exact replica of my sleigh.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's so awesome.
That's awesome.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'm gonna have the pictures, the originals framed.
Nice.
Let's go.
Will keep me from,
Oh,
I'm sorry,
What church is this?
United Parish of Oakland.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that is cool.
Next time, Brad.
I
I'm gonna move you one to car.
feel like I should get your autograph.
It is on.
That's French.
See, people still don't
But
believe.
we know Santa personally.
When I say I was in the Disney movie, people look at it and say, yeah, okay, right. I mean,
He's in it.
it was just a 30-second cameo, but it's enough for me.
Oh, the parade of the Santa.
Yeah, right.
Middle of the night.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, so anybody got anything else they want to talk about? I know this is one of our longest meetings, but I think it was very.
Yeah.
Did you need a vote on this? As far as submission?
Oh, no, that's your thing. That's
Well,
what-
okay, and I was gonna say, if there are issues though, with any of the numbers, we can obviously revisit it this next meeting.
Right, but you have to get something in this week.
Right,
So,
exactly.
no, that, I mean, that's definitely your purview, that's your budget.
Yeah, and like I said, I'll work up another scenario for ours, scenario we had last year.
Yeah,
So I have that.
but we want to be clear, this is what we.
If anybody thinks of another scenario you think might be asked of, certainly.
Yeah, the only other scenario is gonna be,
Right, which we don't want.
how about we go to 57 hours?
I mean, and I don't have a problem, like, I say, if they said to me, these areas need to be reworked. It's fine.
It never happens.
Well, I know,
It never
plug in the
happens.
new numbers and I go from there.
Right.
It's not a problem, you figure it out.
Right.
There's already 3 scenarios, so. If there's 4 or 5 or 6 scenarios, fine.
I don't think we should go nuts with that. I think the second
Right.
scenario should be what we asked for last year,
Right.
but this is what we want. Right?
Yeah.
This will get us to a very healthy state.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Across everything.
Yes.
So,
We do next meeting.
oh, next meeting, sorry, February.
Is the next Wednesday? It's
Uh,
actually the third Wednesday, 8th.
The 8th is the second.
Can we change to Tuesdays? Is anybody opposed to that?
Not opposed to it. Sean might have an issue with it, but he doesn't show up anyway, so.
Exactly.
Actually, Tuesdays would be better for me because I curl on Wednesdays and.
You're at the desk though. Should-
Yeah, but I could just pop, yeah, unless they have a program, maybe Jen or I could
Maybe
just
you guys
switch,
could swap.
we could swap.
Do you mean ongoing Tuesdays?
Yeah.
Anybody else? Have a
I'll,
problem with that?
I'll be on.
Okay.
Talk too much because I'll be.
It's fine. You can type into the chat.
Just what you always wanted to do.
So the only one we don't know about is Allison. Sean, I think the school.
Yeah.
They're Mondays.
They're Mondays.
They're Mondays, so unless
And
he's
then
a
they're, like,
subcommittee.
the budget subcommittee, they have one tomorrow. I think they haven't,
Got a groove.
yeah, I think so, they had to cancel the last one because it. I don't know, they couldn't get enough people, so,
So we're looking.
Yeah, it's usually the second.
that would be the 14th, oh, so Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
No other people I'd rather spend Valentine's Day. Right, yeah.
That's team book.
Heart-shaped candy, why not?
I gotta ask my husband if he wants to do something exactly.
Yeah, we never do anything on Valentine's Day because it's way too expensive.
Exactly, it's much cheaper to go on a Monday, the day before, the day after.
The weekend after.
Right, and also the land use committee is.
They meet, yeah,
Tuesday, which I'm also.
but they meet in, oh, you're on,
I am, like.
She doesn't always meet
at 7.
right?
I think it's typically once a month. I don't know, I mean, it's,
Right, but she's canceled some recently. Maybe it's not land use, it's, what's her other committee?
oh, the CPA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that one. All right, so. But what are they? They're only They're the second one of the month.
They've been doing the second.
Which would be,
So it's same as this. Well, I like the idea of Tuesdays.
Well, you could always do it first on the 7th, first week of the month.
For February, and then we go back to the second one.
I was gonna say,
What?
what's interesting Thursdays. Thursdays work for me too. But I'm not actually.
I can do Thursdays.
So I'm just, you know, just, like, mention like my wish list, like for Santa.
I can do Thursdays too.
Yeah, Thursdays are fine.
How about you, Wayne, Thursdays?
Thursday's fine for me.
Yeah, my
Oh, all right,
Thursdays
so the
opened up
only-
because I'm not doing ZBA
Yeah,
anymore.
the only issue would be, I know cultural council likes to meet on Thursdays, so sometimes they try to.
They're meeting on, when they meet on the 17th this,
Yeah, and
They're
I
doing
mean,
the
I'm
19th.
also liaison with the cultural.
I posted for the 17th.
Fine with me if like Santa or not, but yeah.
Let me
You
look,
like
I think that's what posted though.
So the 9th would be the
Really?
second one.
So they want to use Tuesday the 17th.
Whatever.
Wait, I thought that cultural council was Wednesday.
I thought it was.
Maybe it is, let me see what I posted. No, they posted for the 17th.
Was it a Friday, February or January?
January.
In January.
Oh, January, I'm sorry.
It's January. They posted for Tuesday?
It says 117.
Wait, was that, no, but when's in? It's a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday.
They have location?
Yeah,
Yeah, because I have it on my calendar as the 19th.
How come they told me the 19th?
Well,
That's interesting.
at first I'm looking at the agenda they sent and it doesn't have the day of the week. It just says the 17th. So if she put the wrong date, she's going to be sorely, she's going to be in trouble.
I'll just put cultural council question mark.
Well, that's what they're posted for. So if they don't show up, they won't be even.
7 p.m. question.
Well, it's interesting. She must have asked him for the 19th, but that's not what she sent me an agenda.
No.
Right.
Well, I mean, we don't have anything. Do we have anything?
Would be the first.
Tuesday?
Which
That
Tuesday?
agenda's wrong.
I bet you the agenda's wrong too.
The agenda's probably wrong.
Yeah.
So I guess it's 17th of December? Was that what it was, maybe? 17th of December?
No, I think she wanted the Thursday. Yeah, they usually do meet on Thursdays.
That's
Yeah,
upstairs.
that's
So
upstairs.
they're gonna have to be down here.
Yeah.
No, let's go back to that. So if we do Thursdays, the 9th is the second Thursday
Well,
of
that's
February.
Yeah,
So the 9th?
that actually is better for me because my son's having surgery.
February 9th.
Okay.
So we're gonna go for February 9th.
And then cultural council can go back to the Wednesdays they originally wanted.
Ah, yes.
Of course, if they do that, you have select board meetings. Not always.
So that's at 6 though, correct? Should be at 6?
Yeah, we're at 6.
Yeah.
On the 9th? All right, so we think that that's what's gonna be going forward. So we can-
Second
Okay.
Thursday.
Oh, it's all right. Just to make sure.
Second Thursdays.
Second Thursday, okay.
We write that in the minutes.
It's, oh, you wanted to remove it?
That one will be moving to the second Thursdays. And I will change the town website. If I write that down.
Motion to adjourn.
Yes.
I'll motion to adjourn.
I second it.
Okay, we are adjourned. 7:54. Sorry for the long meeting, but it was necessary this year.
No.
We typically like to get out of here an hour or less.
Yeah.
And
usually.
sometimes it's even half hour.
Yeah, but there was a lot this.
There was a-
Yeah.
There was a lot last time.
Time zone, what's?
Right.
in the-
You
No, but for some reason it's showing time zone is.
They had leftovers tonight.
GMT.
I got home, my husband wanted me to, my son wanted me to coordinate a sleepover for this weekend. So instead of like doing dinner or doing work that I need to do for school, I was coordinating a play date for my 13-year-old. And now I get to go home and call and talk to someone about their sub plans for tomorrow.
Oh, no.
She just called, that's who called me on the beginning. She's like,
Oh,
I'm not gonna be in again tomorrow. Can I send you my sub plans? And I was like, I'm not gonna be your sub, but sure, you can. I guess I'll coordinate that for you.
I don't know what I did.
Oh, I like it.
That's good.
Thank you.
Guess what? Then she goes,
Yeah, it's right. It's always nice to be a stiff cousin.
Real quick, so I wrote down, I'm just looking at my own notes right now. After March 15th, March 1st, select board meeting budget. So after March 15th, we're.
That's when the warrant comes out.
The warrant is done. Right, the
And
warrant
so
will be
after March
closed.
15th, that's when we were talking about highlighting
The strategic plan.
Yeah.
Oh, you too. Elena?
Elena, yes, yes. And that's when I don't.
They're literally going into.
No.
All the way.
All right, that was something.
I do that night.